But you both talked about life changing. Do you remember if it was like a specific moment after working, a couple months, whatever, that you felt like, wow, my life is different now? Was there a moment for you, for example, walk around in the city and you start to like, okay, things are different now?
Yeah, once they start, it's gradual though. I don't know if it was gradual for you, but for me, SNL was still SNL, but it wasn't like everyone's watching, waiting for SNL every week. It was still super successful, but it was gradual for me. It would be like one guy be like, "Hey," and then like year 3, it would be like, "Hey man, I really appreciate your thing," and then like by year 7, it's like, "Yeah, it's fucking Pete Davidson." So it was pretty gradual for me, but I imagine it was a skyrocket overnight.
Well, it wasn't exactly overnight, but it was. You kind of wore it. You had to get there was almost like you were slightly radioactive, and just you had to be in a sort of a state of preparation all the time to be ready to work. You had to go in there during the week to be ready to write a line or a sketch at all times. So you kind of elevated your state and you tried to stay there, as well as get yourself like on a nighttime schedule. So you peaked at 11:30 on Saturday night, which is kind of an odd thing to do, but you had to, so you were constantly aware of like of transforming your mind and your body to get right for that moment. And then it didn't wear off right away, because it's sort of devolved a little bit, and you'd still be walking around like, you do that show at 11:30, it's done at 1:00. Can't sleep till 6.
Yeah.
Because you're walking around. I mean, they should probably put us to work cleaning the streets, because we got a lot of energy.
You're wired.
You're completely wired. And that wiring stayed with you. So you had a sort of electricity. There was like a magnetism, and people would just see it. You could almost perceive, you could see other people go like, what's that? What's with that guy? And then they'd look at you and you'd have it. But I mean, the moment I remember was the year I made more money from reruns than my dad ever made in a year. I went, oh, that's really that's silly.
That's awesome.
My dad had 9 kids, raised a family. I was like, I had reruns. I didn't even work. You know what I mean?
That's wild.
So that was a thing where I think this is kind of slightly unreal, and I better pay attention to like all that's good about it, all that's positive and lucky about it.
Hank, what was your moment? Like, when did it change for you here? Was it overnight? Was it gradual?
No, it was definitely not overnight. New York is such a big city. So my life is very different when I'm from Sweden. When I go back there, much smaller, people are more aware. And you come to this city where there's so much going on, so many different things. And I always say, out of 10 people you run into here, it's like 5 doesn't watch hockey. Maybe 3 are tourists, so 2 out of 10 actually.
You're also wearing a mask.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I can't remember if it was like one moment, but it was definitely over time. But I always felt very relaxed here, because going back to Sweden, it was very different.
You were very famous in Sweden. Everyone knew who you were in Sweden.
Over time, yes. I think over I played here for 15 years. I always felt like I could relax and live my life. And yeah, people recognize you here and there. But going back to Sweden, it always felt a little different. I felt like I was more
You're beloved here. You're beloved.
And you came out of Sweden. Did you play like grade school, high school, college?
So I turned pro in Sweden. I played there for 4 or 5 years, played for the national team. And then I came here at age 23. I played here for 15 years. But I always went back to play for the national team in Olympics, World Championships,
and all that kind of stuff.
But again, I don't know if you guys feel that being in this city, there's something about everything feels normal. Doesn't matter what level you're at.
Well, you kind of feel like you're the mayor sometimes. You kind of feel like, hey, not like you're a criminal, but you can feel like, hey, anything can happen here. It's all going to be fine. And people are like, hey, yeah, you can double park there. Just stay, just leave the keys in it, But it's just, I feel like when you make it, and like the song says, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. If you made it here, you made it, And people go like, okay. And even people that I wouldn't think, like people that you run into on the street, like drivers and delivery guys, people that you crash into coming in and out of buildings, you're like, hey, people know you sort of made it, and because you made it in New York, they know that there's a kind of a toughness, and you're not completely full of it.
But can you tell a difference how people approach you here versus if you just leave Manhattan?
It's chiller here,
right?
I grew up here,
yeah,
and I didn't realize how insane of a city it was. It's New York and LA as the cities, and Chicago are very lively cities, like lot going on. But it didn't really hit me till I like started touring, and I would go to Ohio or somewhere in the Midwest, and then there's like, it's like they saw like Bigfoot,
right?
Like they're like, what the fuck? Like that's where like the rabid, like where it's a little scary, like you're actually afraid of your fans a little bit.
People get really super excited out there
because no one fucking goes there.
They get like it's like a really it's like an atomic explosion of reaction.
Yeah, you don't get that here in the city. They're like,
no. And if you do get it, if you do get it,
some
it's from
other
a
guy's
tourist.
like,
You
hey,
can tell it's
leave
a
him
tourist.
alone.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do get it, it's from a tourist. But here in New York, it was like, hey, Pete, hey, Bill, it's like that. Everybody's pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
But in the middle, people get nuclear.
Yeah, no, nuclear is the right word.